Okay, now we move on to the Pilgrims, who we all know and remember from Thanksgiving, and that was the Plymouth colony. Technical difficulties? Okay. So they came not to get rich, not for gold, but because of religion. Um, Most rulers supported a particular religion, um, known as the Established Church. And the Established Church of England was the Anglican Church. The king was a head of the church, and he had a specific way he wanted to do things. Well, some people were persecuted, which means certain people were punished because of their beliefs, which was very common in England and European countries. So therefore, people worshipped in secret, or they were burned at the stake, or they were imprisoned. So, the separatists, who were Protestants, they were a form of Christianity. They wanted to be separate from the Church of England. That's why they were called separatists. They wanted to be separate. They didn't want to be under the king's rule for their religion. So essentially, they wanted a separation of the church and the state, which we have now in the United States. The English monarchy, did they like the separatists? No. So the separatists were persecuted. Now, the Pilgrims, and a definition of pilgrim, is anyone who makes a long journey for religious reasons. That is where we get the name pilgrims. So in 1612, separatists moved to the Netherlands, to Holland, because the Dutch allowed free worship. Now the Pilgrims, they missed their English way of life. Holland is a nice place, but they decided, they miss England. So what are they going to do? They try to find a new place to call home. On September 1620, 102 people leave Plymouth, England on the Mayflower. Half of them are pilgrims, half of them are strangers on board the ship. It was an 8-week journey. On November 1620, they reached Cape Cod, Massachusetts. They wanted to reach Virginia, but they were not on track, and they needed to get off the boat. They were tired of it, so they needed to reach landfall. So they thought they wanted to go to Virginia, but they ended up in Massachusetts, way north, a little colder. Here we go. And there's Plymouth. So they called it Plymouth because they came from Plymouth, England. Okay, now there was a agreement to govern the colony called the Mayflower Compact. It was signed also in November of 1620, November 11th to be exact, which is also Veterans Day in the United States. But anyway, only the males were allowed to sign it. They made laws for the general good of the colony. Now, Plymouth was once a native village. What do you think they did? Well, they didn't take over the natives. No, natives had been wiped out by disease. Okay, they also had a starving time like Jamestown. Fewer than half survived the first winter, and it's very cold. The governor died, and he was replaced by William Bradford. William Bradford led for the next 36 years. In spring of 1621, the Wampanoag, they offered to help the colonists. And maybe somebody you've heard of, Squanto. Squanto's the man. He's the one of the Wampanoags who kind of took the lead in helping the colonists. They explained crops. They taught them how to catch eels and different fish. And then in November of 1621, we have Thanksgiving.